Good morning. Thank you for joining us here for today's edition of Andre the Podcast. I'm Andre Lacey. I'm happy to have you here with me on this Thursday morning. We're talking about African American Music Appreciation Month today. And I thought it was important to highlight this topic again because it's a fundamental part of our culture and Black culture and just educating people about music and how it's come together, and then talking about how music from the past has influenced today's music. So I'm happy to welcome Paige Walker today and Devin Clark. Y'all, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good.
Good, good. Well, I'm happy that you all joined me today. I promised Paige, because if you remember the last episode, we talked about a couple of different things, and there was actually a moment where I grilled Paige and asked her who were some of her five top artists and why. If you don't remember that episode, take a listen and find out what happened for yourself. If you could list only five artists, only five,
Oh
who
no.
would your five top artists be and why?
Oh gosh. Every time I knew this was coming. I just had a feeling this question was coming. I've kind of like put this in my head just a little bit. Please don't get mad at who I left off. I love every Black artist.
So, for those of you who remember that, that was an interesting conversation. And I asked Paige that question to see how she felt and if she was like on her toes, if she was really prepared. And she's like, why? Why'd you put me in this predicament? And I was like, I wanted to see if you had some artists. You could name some, but not really Paige, but me. I got a little heat after that interview. I had people calling, texting, saying, what do you mean you don't listen to country music? And I'm like, look, I'm not against the country music genre. It's just not for me. And people weren't having it. I was like, okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about it. I'm not going to lie to you. Short of these two kind of keeping the conversation going about it, you may not hear it today. I'm going to be transparent with you. I'm not going to lie to you. But don't be mad at me. I was being honest. I told the truth, and that's all that matters. I don't even think, Paige, when we were talking, you were like, you're not against country music, but that you don't particularly just like listen to it like that. Is that right?
No, so no, I liked Beyonce's album and I barely liked that. So I'm not really a country person. No, not really.
Okay, okay. Well, we're on a syndication app, so there might be more people who may not like those words, but
I
go ahead, Devin.
I like what Mickey Guyton. I did like Beyonce's album. I only listened to it like one or two times. So there's this artist named Valerie June, but I think she falls more on the Americana
Mhm.
countryside. I saw her in concert too. She was raised in Memphis, by the way. So I like her. She's really
Okay.
good.
I've never heard of her, so I'm glad that you're not only educating me, but for those who are listening who don't know who she is or that her music style. I do appreciate you educating us on that. I do want to ask you all just a couple of questions just to see where you all are as far as African American music and just the principles that come with it. So I want to ask, what does African American Appreciation Month mean to you?
I feel like I might have said this last month,
Mhm.
but we as Black people, we aren't really appreciating any space that we're in, even if we're pioneers. It doesn't really matter whether we started it, whether we're dominating in it, there's always some type of underappreciation. And I think this month is special because it teaches us that almost every genre we listen to was started by a Black artist or some movement by a Black artist began the genre, something really important. It's more than just, Beyonce. She's doing really good things right now in country music, and she's just a prime example of how we really are the pioneers of so many different things. They've created new Grammy awards for country artists now after she won Album of the Year. You can kind of see where the microaggression lies in music, especially when it comes to Black people. So I think we have to have months like these to celebrate the old and the
Devin?
I think it's just about celebrating Black music in general. We've been a part of so many genres, and kind of like Paige said, whether from hip hop, R&B, classical, jazz, country too, because the banjo's from Africa. A lot of people say that, but it is. So we're part of pretty much every genre, and a lot of genres are rooted within Black music. So just about celebrating the old and new, essentially. Especially the new, because some people don't appreciate the new sometimes. They try and go back to the old. They're like, and they don't make it like they used to and stuff. So embracing everything about it.
There's so much I think that we as a society and as a culture just don't know. Like I had no idea that the banjo comes from, is that Africa, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not know that. So I mean, there's just so much history that we don't know and that, makes this month so important. And so I thought it was worth talking about again. I want to ask you this, and this might be kind of a tough question, but I tried to make it as simple as I could. In what ways do you believe genres like jazz, blues, gospel, hip hop, etc., have influenced the global music scene?
I mean, I think we're just rooted everywhere. Well, if you look at what rock and roll, it went to different other countries. You can see that through what hip hop, rock, R&B, indie, especially for electronic. If you look at electronic music, a lot of it's rooted kind of in the Chicago area. Um, yeah, there's a guy, his name is Larry Hurd, and he got started in Chicago. Oh, his actual artist name is Mr. Fingers, but
Hmm.
he got started in let's see, Chicago, and he did electronic music. And of course, later on, electronic music kind of got into the UK, and a lot of different subgenres of electronic music is either there. But sometimes electronic music, it gets associated with, I guess, a lot of white artists, if I'm being honest. Like if you look at house music, a lot of it ends up getting associated with white artists, even though it was a lot of black artists who kind of were at the root of it. So I don't know. You can see it through it, like any genre, because if you look on the global charts, a lot of black artists are on there. Even for like J-pop and K-pop, like a lot of those influences come from different black artists. Like Boys to Men and different artists like that. Even their dance moves, everything about them. Oh yeah, Janet Jackson too. Michael Jackson, like all the dance moves that they do, choreography and everything comes from black artists, and they note that too as well. So yeah,
Paige?
So I agree with everything Devin said. I think they also, other genres, other countries also take a lot of style influence from us. Hip hop culture style, the way a lot of our favorite R&B artists dress, like Tyla, everything she wears is something like Aaliyah would have worn 20 years ago. I think that's the most impressive part of just Black American music and Black American artists. That we really don't get that credit for pioneering all of that style and the sounds that we make. But I really appreciate how in the pop world, how Beyonce is just so well respected. And she really only has one pop album, but it was able to influence pop albums to further that. Devin, she
I ain't
only
saying
has
anything.
one pop album.
Go
So I
ahead,
really,
Devin. I know you have a rebuttal. Go
I
ahead.
disagree. I didn't know I was going to get on this early, but there's a thing.
early.
Yeah, because I already felt like I was going, not Beyonce. I was talking about pop music in general. I feel like a lot of black artists get put into the R&B field when actually doing pop music. Pretty much pop music is
I
essentially
agree.
if it's catchy, slick production, top of the charts, it's a pop song. Beyonce has a lot of pop songs if you look at it. And even for Michael Jackson, early on, he was put in the R&B field. But then Thriller came out, became the best-selling album of all time. He was everywhere. So he kind of people didn't have a choice but to put him in the pop category because he was so popular. He became pop. So you can look at like Prince, Whitney Houston, like different other artists. It's kind of hard for people to get put into black artists to get put into the pop category. Because you can even look at, let's say, I guess Frank Ocean's Self Control. A lot of people be like, oh, that's R&B. But then, there's a similar song, kind of Love Yourself by Justin Bieber. Just an electric guitar and vocals. So they're kind of similar, but then for Justin Bieber, they'll be like, okay, that's a pop song. Even for The Weeknd, Blinding Lights, some people were trying
True.
to put that in R&B, but it's like a new wave pop song. But then if you look at the song like Kid Laroi and Justin Bieber's Stay, kind of have a similar sound to it, but a lot of people be like, that's pop. Weekend, Weekend's not pop, but The Weeknd is pop. So that's kind of the rebuttals that I have against that. Yeah.
I
Okay,
agree
look.
with that. I agree with that. I definitely think Beyonce has one pop album, but she has several pop songs. There's just one album that is dedicated to like similar to the Lady Gaga style pop music. But I agree with you. I just
I'm gonna
think
have to
that
disagree on that. Okay.
I think that The Weeknd, I disagree with you on that because I think The Weeknd has okay. I just don't think I don't sometimes it sounds like pop, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I can't even tell what he's trying to sound like. But I agree with you on it's not R&B, but I can't always tell that it's pop either.
Well, The Weeknd is R&B, but pop music is just popular music. So pop music, I mean, it used to be traditional pop. You look at Ella Fitzgerald, Frank Sinatra, it was big band, swing, different genres like that. But then rock and roll became pop. Then that changed pop forever, essentially. So then pop started blending in hip hop, indie music, like R&B. It was different genres that became pop. It became like this huge thing. So it's not really defined. So I guess R&B can go into the pop realm. I don't know, because sometimes if you think about it, if you hear a black artist, you'll hear their song. Sometimes you can be like, okay, if there's a white artist singing it, maybe people will say that's a pop song. I feel like for white artists, they easily get put into the pop field, even if they are blending hip hop and R&B into their sound. So The Weeknd is R&B. Don't get me wrong on that. He's definitely R&B, but because his music is popular, he has a lot of chart success. He is essentially a pop artist. Same with Beyonce too, I feel like. But she's definitely R&B though, of course. So yeah.
That's true. It's like everybody I feel just who talk about and who listen to her music a lot would argue that she is for sure under that R&B category. So that's so true. That's so true. See, this is why I brought in another person because I knew last time I wanted somebody to come in and give a rebuttal, but I couldn't get them at that exact moment. And that person is Johnny Hill, who I just had on the mental health show. I thought about bringing him here, but
Mental
this show
health?
might have
Oh
became an
yeah.
hour if we had brought him in here. It might have became an
For sure. For sure.
hour. So no, I'm gonna leave it at that. That's all I'm gonna say because I'm sure he's gonna listen. But let me get to my next question and ask you this. This kind of seems like a an obvious question, but for some it may be a are they for sure? Do you believe that African American artists are getting the credit and compensation that they deserve as far as their contributions to the music industry? Some might argue yes, some might argue no. What's your opinion? We'll start with Paige.
So it's definitely a select few of Black artists. I think that there is like a handful of Black artists that are gonna always get their flowers, and then there's a large portion that we forget about completely. So I think Beyonce gets her accolades for what she, yes, I think we leave her out of some stuff, but for the majority, Beyonce does not go without getting appreciated for her artistic abilities, for her albums. Like, she is the most awarded Grammy winner. She didn't have Album of the Year until last year, but she was still the most awarded Grammy winner. I think I don't see a lack of appreciation for a lot of artists, maybe 80s, 90s, and 2000s. A lot of them go underappreciated and underlooked. And the reason that I thought of that is because I don't know if you guys watched that A. Marie Tiny Desk video where she performed like One Thing live. And it made me realize that she really never had a chance to become a superstar. And she just went under the radar after that. People didn't really talk about her albums until just now, but it's the 20-year anniversary. We're 20 years past that. I feel the same way about Ashanti. She had a great first three albums, but we don't really talk about that much. I think we select a bunch of artists from a specific era and we only focus in on them. So like Alicia Keys has 17 Grammys. Half of those Grammys I don't even know what are for. And I think that's interesting because she's well appreciated, but she has peers that aren't, like Jill Scott. I don't think we really look at Jill Scott a lot. So I think it's really 50-50. I think it depends on who you are. If you maybe were signed to a larger record label, you can go 20 years down the line getting your appreciation. But if you weren't, you may not. I feel like we forget about a lot of 80s stars like Rick James. I don't hear people talk about Rick James a lot. When I hear about the 1980s, I really only hear about Michael Jackson and Prince, and I really don't feel like I hear about Tina Turner as much as I should. We don't talk about Shaka Khan a lot. So I feel like you really have to be like one of the chosen Black artists to get that appreciation. And once they choose you, they keep going. That's kind of how I feel about Kendrick Lamar. TDE has a long roster of rappers that deserve Grammys, but the only artist who gets them is Kendrick Lamar. I feel like they chose him, so he's going to get the accolades, and then everybody else is going to fall short. So I feel like it's maybe not even 50-50. Like, it really isn't balanced for who gets the love versus who doesn't.
Devin?
I guess for the Grammys too, I don't want to go back into like the R&B stuff, but like for Beyonce, a lot of her stuff is within the R&B category. So I think that's a problem a lot of Black artists have with the Grammys. They get put under, I can't remember the Grammys. They used to have somewhere where they really used to divide it, like some of the names, but they kind of switched them over. But I don't know, a lot of different artists, they get put in the R&B category. They don't get put in the general one, or even if they do get put in the general album song of the year, usually there's a chance they won't win. But I don't think Black artists get the credit that they deserve. Sometimes, of course, they do. You look at different artists, Beyonce, Kendrick Lamar, Michael Jackson, Prince, Whitney Houston too. Sometimes I feel like people don't talk about her as much as she deserves, but it was this, I can't remember, it was this white group. They were the first to record like a jazz song. Well, of course, there were a lot of other Black jazz artists who had already been doing that. So it became kind of this thing where white jazz artists were becoming more popular or getting credited with having the first jazz hit. But overall, in some ways, Black artists do get the credit they deserve, but sometimes they have to work harder at it more than other artists because the work ethic for I keep going back to Michael Jackson. His work ethic was crazy, and even for Thriller, he he did this thing. So "The Girl Is Mine," right? That song. He made that the first single that he released on the album, and people were confused by it because it was like a soft rock song. People were like, oh, Michael Jackson he's trying to appeal to the white audiences, but he did that strategically to get the attention of white people. So then after he released those other songs, it kind of blended in well. So sometimes it's strategic in how you have to like appeal to everyone or to get certain attention. But of course, a lot of people take influence from Black artists. and sometimes they go and roll with it, and sometimes they get more attention than the black artists. So it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I mean, even just thinking about just some of the things that I've heard, there have been controversial conversations about Elvis Presley, how he would go and see black performers and artists, maybe take some dance styles or moves, to incorporate in his music. And that's not bashing him. That's just been some of the rumors and talks about how he became popular for some of his pelvic um,
Yeah.
movements or performances. I mean, yeah, just thinking about it. I mean, in some ways, that really is true. It really is true when you really think about it. All right, now last question. Devin, name your top favorite 5 artists and why. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I was about to say.
Oh gosh. Oh God, if we weren't running short for time, I would have asked you. I was ready. I was ready. Actually, no, you know what? We're not running short for time. I'm the boss here. I want the 5 top artists and why.
See, I can't do a top. I can name
Uh,
some. I can name some artists, but I can't like just do a top. I'm gonna be like Paige. Just gonna kind of go on the ramble.
You're
I
good,
like
Devin. You're
Sly and the
good.
Family
I
Stone. Oh,
answered. I answered. So technically, I didn't go on a ramble.
You got a minute and 30. Go.
okay. Sly and the Family Stone. Janet Jackson.
Okay.
Thela Kuti. Let's see. Dawn Richard. She's really good. Dawn Richard. Check her out. Really good artist. Versatile. Cautious Clay. Danny Brown. Luigi Luna. Scylla Short. John Coltrane. What? Muddy Waters. Prince. Bo Diddley. D'Angelo. Black Moon. I don't know. There are a lot of artists. There are a lot of artists, Andre.
Devin, you got in on it too, and you did good. You did good. I appreciate it. But guys, thanks for joining me. I really do appreciate it again.
Of course.
Yes, I'm so happy for you. I'm so proud of you and getting your podcast
Yeah.
on the live network. That is so amazing.
Andre.
Thank you, guys. Look, I'm trying. I'm trying each day. I'm trying. That's all I can do. That's all I can do. To continue supporting Andre the Podcast and any other shows, please download and subscribe to the Alive Podcast Network. You'll experience unlimited access to Black hosted content, and we'll be able to keep bringing you amazing content week after week. The subscription price is just $9.99. Thanks again for being with us, and we'll see you next time. Be blessed.